We are live and a new chapter begins. This chapter, NASCAR 06 Total Team Control. The race, the Daytona 500, and what is the series? How about the Nextel Cup Series? And a Do It for Dale Classic. Yes, we are trying to win the Daytona 500 in the year 2005 with your guys' fan voted driver and Junior Nation, of course, help voting the fan driver polls throughout the last couple weeks. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Not only we're going to try to win the Daytona 500 tonight with Dale Jr., but the goal, we're going to try to get Dale Jr. his first career NASCAR Cup Series title throughout the course of this series and throughout this gameplay of this season. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, live race commentary, realistic commentary for the races on the race weekends, and the video game races during the week. Of course, NASCAR 06 is going to be on full display throughout the weeks and months to come, so buckle up. It's going to be a lot of fun between the Truck, Busch, and the Cup Series. We've already had some fun on the channel today and this week with Speed Week so far. Finished 34th in the truck race with fan voter driver Ron Hornaday 2 nights ago on Tuesday night, where we saw a fantasy driver get the win. Yesterday, we saw a first-time winner in the Busch Series. Aaron Crocker went on to win her first career Busch Series race and win the season opener for the Busch side at Daytona. And unfortunately, our driver, Dale Jr. in that series as well, finished 37th. Little bit of an upside today, though. Qualified on the pole in the stream earlier this afternoon. If you missed that, I highly recommend going back, checking that out after this race. But what you need to know, basis, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the pole for this race. Ended up with a 12th place finish. Had a great rally in the second half of that one to at least get a decent finishing position. But because he qualified on the pole and Jimmy Johnson, in fact, qualified outside of the front row in qualifying, those 2 spots were locked up. And then the finishing order on race 1 set up the inside line for the Daytona 500. The outside line was set up based off of dual race number 2, which we did not see because we were in dual race number 1. The winner of the 2 dual races earlier today, the 6 of Mark Martin, won dual race number 1, and then the 08 of Shane Neal pulled off an upset in dual race 2. No points were awarded through the dual race, but the points racing is about to start now in the Daytona 500. Mark DeMars, Aston Township Fire Department, Bentley Potts, Michael Turner, Susie Niedercheck, and Lawnmower, welcome to the stream. Let's get this thing underway. Can Dale Earnhardt Jr. win the Daytona 500? The green flag is in the air. We are underway. And we are racing at the high banks and at the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway. Great initial start for Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting the jump through the gears and into turns 1 and 2. Getting up to speed. Saw 3 cautions in the dual race earlier today, 10 in the Busch Series yesterday. Jr. going to try to protect the bottom lane right now. He'd like to get 5 bonus points early on in this one if he can. He didn't lead any laps from the pole in the race earlier today. Mark Martin actually led the most laps and got the win in the race. Dale Jr. is going to lead him off the exit of turn 4 this time. And the opening lap of the 2005 season, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to lead it. And dual race number 1 winner Mark Martin ends up in second, getting around Jimmy Johnson off the exit of turn 4. Clean air is going to be amazing, even at Daytona, because right now Dale Jr.'s car is driving perfectly. Made some adjustment changes following the race earlier today. Dropped the air pressure just a little bit to try and add a bit more grip. Adjusted the wedge a little bit as well, maybe to try and loosen it up and still keep it at its fast pace. Tires are going to be of utmost importance at this bumpy Daytona surface as well. Mark Martin trying to go for his first Daytona 500. We already have a caution on lap 2. That did not take long. We've had a lot of cautions during Speed Week so far, and on lap 2 we have our first of the Daytona 500. And it looks like Rusty Wallace, making his final Daytona 500 start, has crashed right in front of his teammate Ryan Newman. It looked like Wallace pinched Jeff Gordon into the outside wall off turn 4, causing the 2-car to slide around. Everybody else misses him to the outside as Wallace spun down to the apron. So caution out on lap 2. Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a great jump on the initial start. We'll see if he can get a good jump on the restart this time. Derek Booth, welcome to the stream. Junior Nation does have a shot to see Dale Jr. get his first title. Running a retro kind of paint scheme or alternative paint scheme for the 500, one that Dale Jr. ran a lot during the Daytona 500s of yesteryear, especially with the DEI team. The game was restarting me in third gear earlier, and they're restarting me again, so I have to downshift to second gear to try and get a better launch. And that, oh, one car blowing up, Mark Martin! Martin's blowing up on the restart. It looked like he had smoke, and he is going to drop to the back. I wonder if that was more of a transmission failure for Mark Martin rather than an engine failure, because they were just getting up to speed. I don't think I've seen that before. So up to speed in the Daytona 500 now into turns 3 and 4. But Mark Martin going to blow an engine. Matt Kenseth's going to look to the outside, trying to get his first lead of the race. Shane Meal down on the bottom, dual race 2 number winner. And Mark Martin will not win his first Daytona 500 today, even after winning dual race number 1 earlier today in dominating fashion. He's going to retire from the race, and it looks like he's going to go on to a last place finish. We saw Greg Biffle blow an engine in the dual race earlier. Roush engine's not holding up very well. Dale Jr.'s led the first 6 laps of the race so far. Lifted a little bit in turn 3 to try to keep the car in the bottom lane. Might give enough of a run, though, to the car behind of Shane Meal. Oh, contact Kenseth's in the wall, and another wreck. My goodness. Second caution, and it's only on lap 7 we're going to see the next one. I saw that one, though. Matt Kenseth squeezed Tony Stewart into the outside wall. Actually, it looked like Kenseth squeezed the one of Martin Truex Jr. into the wall. Rusty Wallace may have had something to do with that as well. Truex Jr. with damage, Tony Stewart with damage. It looked like Ryan Newman hit the back of the 20 as well. My goodness, 2 yellows already in the first 7 laps of the Daytona 500. This might be a long night. Good restart for Dale Jr. Start of the 2005 season. Take me back, yep. Jeff Gordon won this race in real life in 2005. Dale Jr. was right up there with him, though, at the end of the race. Jimmy Johnson looking to the inside. We've got cars with damage, obviously, mid-pack. I wonder if we're going to end up seeing any debris cautions eventually in this one as well. Good thing for Dale Jr. is it's a lot harder to wreck when you're out in the lead. He'll hold the bottom off of turn 4. Outside lane may have gotten stacked up. I think that was Rusty Wallace stacking up the outside again right in front of Tony Stewart. Dale Jr. going to lead the first 11 laps of the Daytona 500. Quick stat check, and just a reminder, I have not won not only a Daytona 500 on the NASCAR EA Sports video games, but I have not won a cup race that is points paying at Daytona either. I've won 2 dual races at Daytona, but never won a points race at Daytona in the Cup Series on either NASCAR Thunder 2004 or NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. So on NASCAR 2006 Total Team Control, this could be the first. I'm 0 for 10. 5 races on each of the 2 prior games. And our first try today, we'll see if the 11th start is going to be enough to finally win at Daytona and, of course, win the Great American Race at Daytona on the EA Sports side of things. And honestly, Dale Jr., he probably has the best overall of any driver on the super speedways on this game. If I can't get it done with him, I don't know if I can get it done at all. This is definitely going to be the best opportunity, and maybe forever the best opportunity. We'll bobble off turn 2 for Earnhardt. Mirror driving can be difficult sometimes. Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 going to drive up to second place. DEI nearly running 1-2 right now. Truex on the inside of the 48. of Jimmy Johnson. Nearly contact off turn 4. Johnson with a run. Head of steam. Clears Truex down low to the bottom. Martin Truex Jr., a rookie at DEI coming into this season. All fun and games right now, at least with them running first and third. Michael Waltrip, who was in dual race number 2, also for DEI. I don't understand is why Truex is denying to try and draft behind Earnhardt right now. I think he's more willing to work with Jimmy Johnson. That's sad. Let's see how it is, though. Every man for themselves right now. Still early in this one, though. Not too many green flag laps on these tires, so even though we're 15 laps in, really we've only ran about 4 or 5 green flag laps in today's race. Jimmy Johnson in the wall off turn 4, getting tight in line behind Dale Jr. Joel Floric, welcome to the stream. Well, I don't want Truex to get in front of me. But you can tell Truex definitely wants to get a lap let in here to get some bonus points going his way. Dale Jr. hop into the outside. Teammate Martin Truex Jr. is up there. Johnson's still down on the bottom right now. Truex hops in line behind JJ into turn 3. Jr.'s driving this race car really hard right now. He's led the first 16 laps accordingly. Martin Truex Jr. finally gets to the inside of Jimmy Johnson through the tri-oval and into turns 1 and 2. Going up to side draft the 48, the 20 in line of Tony Stewart. Also never won a Daytona 500. Up towards the front of the field. He's involved in 2 accidents already today. Alex Eddy, welcome to the stream. Mark? Yeah, unfortunately Mark Martin's already DNF'd. Blew an engine immediately following the restart. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson both going to get around Martin Truex Jr. Truex still hanging out in the top 5. He's in 4th right now. Looks like Casey Kane or Jeremy Mayfield, one of the Everham dodges in the outside lane trying to get to Truex. I do not live in Illinois. I live in Northwest Ohio. Truex fighting back to 3rd. Johnson with a block on him for 2nd. Dale Jr.'s been mirror driving from the get-go right now. He doesn't even want somebody to get alongside of him if he can help it. Continuously holding on to the race lead out in front of the field. Johnson to the outside, but nobody's going to go with him right now. Truex and Stewart down low on the bottom. Jimmy almost to the outside lane with a run. Stewart's got to hop up there with him now. Dale Jr. moves up in front of the 48 to control the outside down the back straightaway. 20 laps in this time by, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s led them all in the 2005 Daytona 500. This may look easy for Dale Jr., but it is not, trying to control the pack. Teammate Martin Truex Jr. is there. But it just does not look like he is willing to work with Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I think some of the reason is because Truex wants to get to the lead and try to get some bonus points. Up towards the outside, contact between the DEI Chevrolets. That was a near catastrophe on the back straightaway between Martin Truex Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think Truex is still in third. Kenseth was able to get up to second, and we have a little bit of a breakaway at the front of the field now. My goodness. That would have been terrible. Good thing Truex didn't lose many spots. He fell from second back to third. And he's got a lot of cars to still draft with to try and catch the top two that broke away, at least for the short term, between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth. Lap 22. We've had 3 cautions already today. We're going to go through our first field pass of the race, and we'll go backwards to Martin Truex Jr. in the one, who is trying to hold up Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, and others, while Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to lead. New feature with the NASCAR 06 gameplay side of things that we'll get to see for this season. So you get to look at Martin Truex Jr. trying to control the pack. Right in front of Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson. And he's trying to lead this group up to the top 2. Tony Stewart looking to the outside. Again, Stewart with damage. He's been involved in 2 of the accidents already today. Carl Edwards, who flipped in the dual race earlier, is now in the top 5 in the Daytona 500, up to 4th, getting around Stewart at the start-finish line. Moved to the outside in front of Smoke. Kenseth looks like he is losing Dale Jr. a little bit. Truex thought about blocking the 99 of Edwards up high, and instead just stays down low on the bottom. Edwards may move down in front of the 1. Nope, not quite. Still side by side. Major pack racing going on right now at Daytona. Oh my goodness, Jimmy Johnson nearly put it 3 wide under Truex. Big block by the 1. Johnson's been trying to make some bold moves quite a bit already today. Stewart down to block Truex in the middle of 1 and 2. Stewart trying to get now underneath the 99 of Carl Edwards. Edwards trying to get up there with his teammate Kenseth in second. Spacing out into maybe a little bit more of a longer green flag run this time. Stewart and Truex down on the bottom lane. Carl Edwards up high. Go one more lap, and then we'll take a look at what Michael Waltrip and the 15 car is doing and where he's at in the early going of the Daytona 500. Truex underneath Stewart. Not a lot of help. Elliott Sadler. Another one of the 2 cars that flipped in the dual race earlier today. Also in the top 10 in the 500. Truex has a run on Stewart. Nowhere to go with it. He'll stay in line behind him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led the first 25 laps of the Daytona 500. Little bump draft to the back of Stewart. Stewart into the back of Edwards as well. Getting racy. And here comes Waltrip, also trying to move himself through this pack. Trying to get up there with his teammates. Big bobble in the middle of 1 and 2 for Waltrip. He's able to catch the race car. I don't think he broke much momentum because he didn't lift. Waltrip in 9th, so all 3 DEI Chevrolets right now in the top 10. So tough to beat in the early to mid 2000s on the super speedways. Johnson starting to go backwards a little bit. Rookie Mike Bliss right now in the 7th position. Oh, we got trouble! Truex is around! Waltrip has to go to the inside to miss him. And we have our 4th caution of the race today. Truex pulled a block on Carl Edwards off turn 4, and Michael Waltrip had to go low to miss it. Otherwise, we're about to see 2 DEI cars involved in an accident. Not sure what the field's gonna do here. Oh, Waltrip gonna stay out. It's gonna be the first lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not led today. Michael Waltrip staying on the racetrack. He'll get 5 bonus points leading his first lap. It was hard to tell what the rest of the field's doing. That's one thing I don't like about this game. Is you can't really dictate when the rest of the field is pitting or not because the icon's so big. But on the restart, Michael Waltrip, like I said, leading the way right now. And he's going to let Dale Earnhardt Jr. go. Martin Truex Jr. down on the inside as well. Now Waltrip going to draft with Earnhardt. Truex in line behind Michael. Michael on older tires right now, though, may have a little bit of a difficulty trying to hang on to his race car. Earnhardt is a man by himself, and he's getting too far ahead of the pack. The DEI crew working well together, though. Waltrip has a big run on Earnhardt into 1 and 2. He's already got his laps led. He'll sit behind him for now. 1, 2, 3 for DEI at the front of the field in the Daytona 500. I'm not really working with the command right now. I'm just toying around, really. I really only want to focus on that stuff when I'm Dale Jr. We're the one we're racing as him for the full season, trying to get the wins and everything. Waltrip looking down low. Backing out of the gas on the back straightaway. He's going to let Earnhardt get in front of him again. Waltrip did not want to make the pass. The only laps Dale Jr. has not led was the laps under caution that Michael Waltrip led because he stayed out of the pits. Because otherwise Dale Jr. won the race off of pit road. One more lap and we'll go back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. for a little bit. And then we'll actually alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the Daytona 500. I know I'm not alone out of technicality in this game. I just wanted to do this for a new feature as like a field pass. And right now it's 1, 2, 3 though at the front of the field for DEI. Again, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the lead. Michael Waltrip second. Martin Truex Jr. third. Waltrip on a little bit of a varying pit strategy. 4 cautions in the race so far. That's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to swap back to Dale Jr. and I messed it up. There we go. That's not good because now Dale Jr.'s got a big lead over the field and doesn't have any more drafting help with Waltrip getting loose in turns 1 and 2. trying to swap back and I missed it. Feels like the 2001 Pepsi 400 when Waltrip pushed Dale Jr. Yeah. Hopefully Waltrip can hang on to second place. It looks like he is right now with Truex behind him in third. The problem is that Dale Jr. is all alone all of a sudden. And when we get back to the start-finish line this time by, we'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the Daytona 500 today. Great race so far. A lot of yellows, though. Very tough to dictate how this race is going to go going forward. I have a feeling we're going to be getting a lot more where that came from. Thing is, they've all been AI related. Dale Jr.'s been out in front of the field with really nothing to worry about so far. It looks like Jimmy Johnson got around Martin Truex Jr. for third. Waltrip still in second. Truex is back to fourth as Jimmy Johnson in the 48 leads the way. Johnson trying the outside. Dale Jr. gonna... Oh, caution's out again. Our fifth of the race. This is unbelievable. Trouble in turns 1 and 2. The 43 car has spun all on his own. That's Jeff Green. Oh, and a big wreck down to the bottom. Jeff Green in the 43 gets drilled. The front of his car by Rusty Wallace at a flip down onto the banking of the racetrack. Our fifth caution of the Daytona 500. Like the old Daytona before the repave, me too. Jimmy Johnson got a good jump. Dale Jr. with a good launch, though, in third gear. 18 messed with the gearing as well. Tried to help with the restarts. Was lagging behind the dual race and all Busch race long yesterday, and even Hornaday in the truck race was lagging behind on the restarts, but Dale Jr.'s figured it out. The only thing you hope for is on the long runs, it doesn't wind and rev the engine up too much. Oh, Junior gets shuffled to the outside, and he's in the wall. Off of turn 4, and they're wrecking behind. Mike Bliss gets caught up in a near accident with Tony Stewart. Johnson got underneath of Dale Jr., and all Jr. really tried to do there was stay to the outside and let Jimmy Johnson get underneath him, but he ended up in the wall, and then I don't know what happened to the bottom. Mike Bliss just got sideways on the inside. It would have been in 6th and stacked up the field behind Earnhardt. Luckily, Bliss kept it off the 8 car. That's unfortunate. And now Dale Jr. is all by himself after the first bit of contact he's had to deal with the entire race. Still in 5th, but he is losing time to the leaders. And Jimmy Johnson leads for the first time today, the first non-DER car to lead as the opening lap after the caution number 5 in today's race. Jimmy Johnson 5th fastest in Indy 500 practice. That's pretty cool. Caution's out again. That's going to save Dale Jr. in 5th. Our 6th yellow of the race. They just keep piling on right now. Debris of some sort. Can't tell who it fell off of. Oh, off the 43. Jeff Green. Jeff Green flipped during the 5th caution, and he'll bring out debris for the 6th. I don't think anybody ran it over and wrecked. So that debris caution's going to be a game saver. And I think Michael Waltrip is going to be able to pit sometime soon. With the last couple of cautions coming out if he hasn't already. This is unbelievable. I can't believe how many... I mean, this race is feel like it's taking an eternity right now because of all the cautions. Pretty good launch on the restart for Dale Jr. Looking low under Tony Stewart. Dale Jr. restarting in 5th. Jimmy Johnson out in front right now. Jr. got to the inside of Carl Edwards. He is going to get around Stewart. Gaining 1 spot on the restart. Johnson now leads this time. Martin Truex Jr. up the middle. It might be 3 wide going into turns 3 and 4. And they are 3 wide, and Dale Jr.'s in the middle of it. Oh, McMurray! Oh, and Newman gets into McMurray. Jr. slides. I don't think he hit the wall. Jamie Mack was 3 wide in the middle, pulled up in front of Dale Jr., then Jr. slid down and caught another car, and I think it was Newman and... Man, I can't tell who else that was that got involved there. Truex, again, unfortunately, 2nd one he's been involved in today. Our 7th yellow. Jr. kept it off the wall, though, after McMurray initially squeezed him, so I don't think he has much damage. And he'll stay out of the pits here. And we'll try it again. Restarting back at 7th this time is Earnhardt. Oh, McMurray may have tried to block again. I think there's room up high behind Mike Bliss. What a run for Bliss right now. In 4th place. Martin Truex Jr. in line behind Dale Jr. Had to get that thing off of Waltrip at the bottom. Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. still does not want to work with Dale Jr. Jr. going to work with Truex, blocking Jeff Gordon on the bottom. 7 yellows in the race today, but I have to say Dale Jr. stayed out of trouble somehow. A little harder now that he's in the pack a little bit more. But he drafts behind his teammate Martin Truex Jr. and they're going to try to drive to the front of the field. Jr. led a lot of laps at the beginning of this race from the pole. But it was after caution number 5 where Johnson took the lead, and he's led every lap since. 7 cautions total in the Daytona 500. We're only on lap 53. Again, though, Earnhardt, Truex trying to work together right now at Daytona. Jeff Gordon in the 24 also going to keep up with the 2 DEI cars, at least trying to. And I have to say, progress is being made. Junior was able to gain 1 spot initially on the restart, but that was about it. Time is being made up, though, with Dale Jr. riding in line behind his teammate Martin Truex Jr. Not actually bump drafting him, just using that share draft and trying to get this track position back. Dale Jr. could go up here and try to make some moves. Yeah, I already did a field swap once. Michael Waltrip and Martin Truex Jr. I'll do it a couple more times. I'll do it a couple times each race. Just more for field pass reasonings for the live commentary than anything else. Earnhardt lifted a bit off turn 4 that time. Just trying to keep it behind Martin Truex Jr. Aggressive drafting by Dale Jr. and Martin Truex Jr., but they're not actually bump drafting, and they're making it work. And Jeff Gordon's staying with these guys. A breakaway at the front of the field for some of the leaders. Again, Truex on the outside, on the straightaway. Dale Jr. had a big run off turn 2, hopped out of the gas to hop in line right behind the 1 again. Into turns 3 and 4, Jr. tucked up in the dirty air, moves up the track a little bit, trying to keep the car pinned on the bottom. That's going to create a little bit of a gap. Single file line for the most part through the top 7 or 8 in this lead pack. Jr. down to block Jeff Gordon. And now to the hood cam. One car almost in the outside wall. I believe that's Carl Edwards in second. We've seen one flip. We've seen a big one. We've seen 7 accidents total in the Daytona 500 so far. Dale Jr. going to abandon his teammate Martin Truex Jr. for right now. Mike Bliss going to move to the bottom in the 0 car. Truex up to 5th. Mike Bliss, rookie in the 0, trying to pull off a Daytona 500 miracle. Taking over for Ward Burton in that car for this season. Ward Burton in NASCAR 05 ran this car. They're a different driver to drive that car in the last couple seasons. Jack Sprague drove the 0 as a rookie in 03. Truex had a big run off turn 2. Jr. had to hop out of the gas on the outside just to keep it off of the 0 of Mike Bliss. Poisonous Frog says pure bliss down in the chat. You can see Edwards moving up to the outside. Has a little help from Elliott Sadler. Might have been a little bump draft in the middle of the corner for those two. Little dangerous to bump draft with the Jet 4 cars, especially in the middle of the corner. Look at the run Dale Jr. got underneath the 0 of Mike Bliss. Was able to make the pass and try to draft off Elliott Sadler, who was in 3rd. Jr. thought that was going to be a good enough of a run to try to make that pass happen. Oh, in the wall off turn 4. He's going to stall the run out for Earnhardt for right now. Blocks Bliss up on the outside in the tri-oval. Jeff Gordon down to the bottom underneath Martin Truex Jr. Dale Jr. staying down low for the meantime. Climbs to the outside to block Bliss again. He's going to try to let Jeff Gordon in the 24 car go. Off turn 2. Little contact. Oh boy. That knocked Jr. sideways off turn 2 as him and Gordon touched fenders. And Gordon's going to get in front. That wasn't an easy transition to say the least. But it was a transition. And you have the actual 2005 Daytona 500 winner and the defending Daytona 500 winner from 2004 drafting together inside the top 5 and trying to work together to get to the front of the field. Gordon trying to replicate history. Dale Jr. trying to add another chapter, I guess, in the history books. Get his second Daytona 500 win in his career up to this point. think Mike Bliss just got underneath the 8 for a short time there. Not going to be able to stay underneath him, though. Junior lifts a little bit in the middle of the corner. Bliss is still tucked in line behind the 8 on the bottom. "60 laps in, Junior's kept his car clean so far. He's been in the top 5 pretty much all race, as far back as 7th in the running order. And that's been about it for Dale Jr. Lifts a little bit, got up in the marbles in 1 and 2 on the outside. So hard to hold the bottom on the old tires. And trying to give the help and give the push to Jeff Gordon. Gonna ride more of the middle lane this time. Through 3 and 4, he checked up at the right moment. Bliss staying tucked behind the 8. I think this 5-car group, maybe 4-car group, is closing in. Oh, contact! Gordon's in the wall on the outside. Junior had a run, got underneath him, and got into him. He was trying to stay in line behind him, and that did not work, and Bliss is going to get up to 4th because of it. Dropping Jeff Gordon back a few spots. I believe he's going to be in 8th now. Trying to lead the 3rd pack. That's unfortunate because they were making up ground on the top 3. Junior kisses the wall off turn 4. Hard checked up with Mike Bliss up high. Tony Stewart dangerously close to the left rear corner panel of Dale Jr. Nathan Elliott, welcome to the stream. I mean, this is basically what the car looked like, just without the Bud sponsor. Because it's rated E for everyone. Junior got up into the wall again. Wow. It is a handful to hang on to these race cars. One more lap, I'll go back to the far chase cam. That may help a little bit. Looks like Kyle Busch is in the running. Busch blew an engine while running 2nd in the dual race earlier today. Rookie Kyle Busch for Hendrick Motorsports in the number 5 Kellogg Chevrolet. Tony the Tiger car of a different color than the Tiger Stripe car we were used to seeing with Terry Labonte in NASCAR Thunder 04 and the NASCAR 05. And Busch has to have a fast car, you would think. I mean, Johnson's leading. Gordon's in the top, well, was in the top 5. Kyle Busch obviously led some laps earlier today. Junior trying to stay in the gas up high. Riding in line behind Busch. Martin Truex Jr. went down to the bottom. He may get underneath the 5. Dale Jr. got a draft with Martin Truex Jr. and Busch goes down to block the 1 on the inside lane on the back straightaway. Can these 3 pick up pace? Catch the next 2, make it a little bit bigger of a gap. Now Truex goes a bit wide. And we have some pit stops going on right now. Oh, the DEI car is going to get together off turn 4, and now is going to be a great time to pit. Oh, no, never mind. We got a field swap going on. Junior was about to pit and accidentally field swapped to Michael Waltrip. That's not what I was trying to do. Gosh darn it. Waltrip on a little bit different pit strategy right now. Dale Jr. just lost a lot of spots. Little bump draft to the back of Brian Vickers. That is highly unfortunate. Still gonna bump draft Vickers. Big head of steam on the back straightaway. Waltrip getting very aggressive. Vickers may be pitting this time. Pit after... Oh, we got trouble! Oh, and another near wreck. Now they're wrecking. Waltrip's around. Backs it into the outside wall. Gets drilled by Terry Labonte. Another car piles in. Waltrip's up and over at Daytona. They were wrecking off turn 4, and the field started checking up, and Waltrip got in the back of Brian Vickers, causing melee on the front stretch towards the entrance of pit road. Our 8th yellow of the race. That was just pandemonium right there. Ay, ay, ay. Poor Waltrip. And everybody's going to pit that wasn't already pitting. I'll take 4 tires and fuel because it was Michael Waltrip, and not Dale Jr. Waltrip back on the same strategy as everybody else again. That all started because I was trying to get to pit road with Junior and accidentally hit the driver's swap. I tapped the right analog stick to the bottom 2 times in a row, and that easily just swapped me right back to Waltrip. Ay, 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 ay. Pretty clean stop for the 15 crew. Oh, contact almost turning the 21 of Ricky Rudd around. Oh, man. Joseph then, welcome to the stream. Waltrip mid-pack for the restart, it looks like. Green flag back in the air. We'll stick with him for 4 laps. We'll then finish the field swap with Martin Truex Jr. eventually. And then we'll go back to Dale Jr. after that, of course. And Jimmy Johnson able to lead this race still following the pit stops. Nobody was a lap down when the caution came out. Some of the cars were on pit road when the yellow waved, but the field did not make it around a full lap yet, so nobody was a lap down, virtue of that caution, thankfully, and everybody that's still in the race is on the lead lap. Pretty good damage to the 15 of Michael Waltrip after the accident. It's going to be tough to see if he can make his way back through the field again. He's going to do his best. Everybody has 4 fresh tires back on the race car following the second pit stops of the race today. 8 yellows in the first 70 laps of the Daytona 500. Johnson might have the most laps led now. He's been leading for a really long time. He took the lead away after the restart at lap 41 from Earnhardt, and Earnhardt led all but just a couple laps prior to that. The only laps he didn't lead before Johnson took the lead were because Michael Waltrip gotten out there. A little stack up with this pack, allowing Waltrip to close in. Getting underneath the 49 car of Kenny Schrader. Waltrip 3 wide to the bottom and is making moves. One car on the outside wall just behind Waltrip. More cars stacking this field up. Somebody is slowing up the pack. Big bump draft to the car in front of Waltrip right now in turns 1 and 2. That's Sterling Marlin in the 40. The fact that Waltrip flipped and is in the top 20, it looks like still not too bad, all things considered. Okay, hang on. That was a little too big of a dive. Through turns 1 and 2 for Michael Waltrip, and he's going to lose a bit of speed. He's got to go 3 wide and entered way too flat into the corner. Next lap will go to Martin Truex Jr. and the field pass. Oscar Ramirez Herrera, welcome to the stream. Furfur Express, welcome to the stream. I am 21, yeah. But I can't go into this game and do it. there's no way to do that with the old EA Sports games. Not that I know of, at least. It's not like now where we could just go on our PlayStation settings. That wasn't possible in the PS2 era. Yeah, Truex has been involved in a couple accidents. Waltrip's been involved in one now, and luckily our driver, Dale Jr., is staying clean, keeping track position for the most part. I'm not sure where he's at right now, because when that last caution came out. But we'll drive as Martin Truex Jr. for the next few laps. So we see him in 19th. Michael Waltrip not that far behind. And we'll see if Truex can make some moves. And try to work through the pack and get to the lead. He's sideways off turn 4. Keep your foot in it. Got a little skatey there off turn 4. The left side's down on the apron. And the car got really light. Lost a bit of momentum, but stays in the draft of the lead pack at least. That was the big thing there. How many cautions do you think you guys are going to get, or we are going to get in this race today? You know, we have had 8 so far, and we're only on lap 76. This race is taking forever because of it, but again, I'm just fortunate Dale Jr.'s kept the car clean. Kind of involved in one. He got very lucky. Truex to the outside. Right in line behind Ryan Newman in the 12. Feather in the throttle, gets squeezed into the wall by Bobby Labonte. Truex going to let his teammate Michael Waltrip go and draft in line behind him. Labonte just moved up right into the 1. I think he probably got tight because of the dirty air and the traffic around him. I would not be surprised if that was the case. So Truex going to drop into the second pack now in between Jeff Gordon and Michael Waltrip. Of course, Waltrip, one of his teammates in DEI. I will say the 1 car is a lot more unstable, and it's likely because of the damage. Waltrip's got a lot of damage too, though. I'll have to drive it for a couple more laps, and we'll go back to Earnhardt. Sia Z, welcome to the stream. Well, it's not RC. It's not Richard Childress Racing, but it's DEI. Between the 115 and the 8. Yeah, 8 yellows so far. It has been wild. And they've all been AI related. That's the crazy thing. Well, I guess Waltrip got in the back of Vickers, but there was a stack up which led to the accident in front of it. And I guess that wasn't, you know, our driver either. Definitely keeping Earnhardt out of trouble. Truex getting a bit loose off turn 2. Might have grazed the wall a little bit on the outside. We'll go back to Dale Jr. this time by to the start-finish line. It's the 2 DEI teammates of Michael Waltrip, Martin Truex Jr. moving through the pack. Oh, wow, Dale Jr. is actually behind these guys right now. So Dale Jr. somehow back to 25th. I'm not sure how he lost a bunch of track position, but he did. He's actually the 3rd of the DEI cars. Desperately trying to stay in the draft of Carl Edwards in the 99. I think he's barely going to be able to. Well, at least Truex and Waltrip aren't that far ahead. I think Dale Jr. must have had a slow pit stop. That's my best guess. I'm not sure how he exactly fell back to 25th. Near contact between Waltrip and McMurray, and Jr. makes the pass down towards the apron into turn 1. Trying to miss a near accident between the 99 and the 42. We almost had our 9th wreck of the race. 9th caution, at least. 1 was for debris. 7 actual wrecks. 1 big one, and seen 2 flips today. In fact, Waltrip and Jeff Green have both flipped. We are almost halfway home in the Daytona 500. Truex stays wide. Dale Jr. underneath Kyle Petty in the 45 car as well. Staying out of the gas to keep from getting tight as he had a massive run and was tucked in line right behind Casey Kane in the bottom lane. Kane won the Rookie of the Year last season. Still looking for his first career win out of technicality going into the 2005 season because he did not win a race his rookie year. So he'll be trying to do that this season. Kane moved to the outside at probably the wrong time because Dale Jr. had a run and lifted to try and keep it in line behind Kane, but Kane moved up. Sterling Marlin trying to squeeze Dale Jr. Mark Truex Jr. down to the bottom. Dale Jr. gets tight, but he wanted to stay in the gas and hope that he cleared Sterling Marlin, and he did for 20th. That was risky. Truex down low, has a run. Casey Kane going to go to the bottom. Jr. going to go to the bottom in front of his teammate Truex. Michael Waltrip is up on the outside. Massive run for Dale Jr. at 196 miles an hour into turn 3. I'll turn the 9 Casey Kane. Very light tap. Anything more than that, Kane was going to go around. Jr. hops in line right back behind him again. Jimmy Johnson still leading laps in the Daytona 500. Jr. tucked in line behind the Dodge of Kane. Waltrip down to block. Kane going to go wide. Jr. trying to get underneath the 9 car. He'd rather work with his teammate Waltrip, and he has a teammate of Truex right behind. Remember, Truex, Waltrip, and Earnhardt were 1, 2, 3 in the first 40 laps of the race, but since that 5th caution of the day, these guys have, I guess, not been spaced apart from one another, but obviously have lost their track position and are back in traffic right now. Another pass for Earnhardt as he gets by Kane. Truex got shuffled to the outside right behind Carl Edwards in the 99. Everybody on pretty equal strategy as far as fuel goes right now as well. Brendan Harris, welcome to the stream. Released in 2005, made for 2006 season. Well, I get what you're saying, but this is the 2005 driver lineup because it was actually released in 2005 for that reason, so it's the 2005 season on this game. Dale Jr. sticking with Waltrip down on the bottom. Waltrip's got a pretty good run underneath Jeff Gordon. The 11 of Jason Leffler going to pull down. Waltrip going up to block Gordon. Will he go back down to the bottom in front of his teammate Earnhardt again? It looks like he will. Earnhardt stays under Gordon. Gordon with a big block. Shuffle Gordon back. Earnhardt hangs on down on the bottom. I think he's going to be able to stay in the draft of Waltrip. Gordon thought he could squeeze and break up the DEI cars just a bit. I think he might have broken them up just because Dale Earnhardt Jr. might not be able to stay with Michael Waltrip in the 15. Barely clinging on to the shared draft on the back straightaway as Waltrip gets to the inside of the 11 of Jason Leffler. And here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind his teammate. 3 of the last 4 Daytona 500s were won between Waltrip and Earnhardt. Waltrip in 01 and 03, and Earnhardt in 04. Outlier was Ward Burton in 2002. After the field swap that second time, in the field pass, Earnhardt was in 25th. Following that last restart, he's worked his way up to 17th. Seen pit stops about every 35 laps or so. I think we'll see him around lap 105 again. Dale Jr. going to the bottom. He's going to get around Waltrip. It looks like it's every man for themselves right now. And the midway point nearly of the Daytona 500. Now Waltrip will ride in line behind Earnhardt and try to work with him that way. These two swapping position a little bit as Earnhardt tries to hop in line behind Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. Big run coming for the 8. Mayfield went high. Junior had such a big run that Mayfield couldn't block it. Bobby Labonte's in the 18 car down on the bottom. Dale Jr. pulls up, clears Mayfield, hops back in line towards the outside. He's not sure what car he's going to go with yet. Mayfield staying on the bottom right there with Earnhardt. Earnhardt bump drafts the 18 of Bobby Labonte. Very aggressive from Dale Jr. Labonte did not take the run, though, underneath the 77 of Quaffle. Dale Jr. underneath Labonte, underneath Quaffle. Holds the bottom lane. Elliott Sadler going to go wide. Dale Jr.'s up to 13th. Just methodically working his way through traffic. Oh, big block on the by the 12 of Newman to the 0-1 of Nemechek. Oh, Sadler squeezed into the wall by Earnhardt. Earnhardt blocks Labonte on the outside for 12th. Dale got tight, didn't lift, and Sadler lost a couple spots on the outside. Because Nemechek and Newman were side by side, though, they couldn't pull away from Dale Jr. Nemechek slides in front of the 12 of Newman. Big bump trap to Ryan Newman. Newman moved up in front of the 8. 8 didn't check up in time. Bobby Labonte to the inside of Dale Jr. off turn 2. Newman may get to the outside of the 0-1. Massive run in the draft for Earnhardt. Going to be able to pull clear back down to the bottom in front of Labonte. Now get a draft with Joe Nemechek in the 0-1 on the bottom lane through 3 and 4. And with Labonte behind Earnhardt, big run to get to the inside of Ryan Newman in the 12. Dale Jr. just outside the top 10. If he can make his time back into the top 10 before pit stops start, that'd be ideal. Jr. sitting about 3.2 seconds off the lead from Jimmy Johnson. He's gained 14 positions in traffic right now. Was in the lead pack, but the tail end of this lead pack has kind of lost a little bit of touch of the leaders. Big bump draft to Joe Nemechek in the 0-1. Back to the share draft is Earnhardt behind Nemechek. Earnhardt in the wall on the outside. Off of turn 4. That's going to cost Dale a lot of time. Went from 3.1 seconds off the lead to quickly about 4.1 seconds off the lead into turn 1. He's still in 11th. Ryan Newman to the outside. Junior trying to block Labonte. And now Dale Jr. going to draft behind the 12 of Newman. I was trying to see what you boosted my ego on or what you said you did. I'm doing my best to read the comment section right now. These cars are a handful in this game, especially in traffic. Thoughts on how they're doing the All-Star races here? I don't think it's much different as last year other than the stage winners, which I don't mind that, you know, they'll make up the top 3 and then the Pit Crew Challenge making up another. I don't mind that, honestly. As far as the inversions and stuff, I don't like it, but outside of that, as far as the actual All-Star race itself, I'm alright with the other changes they made. They've done that before, though. It's not the first time they've done it where the segment winners will restart towards the front. Dale Jr. to the inside of Ryan Newman in the 12. Moving up to take Newman's line away, clearing him in the middle of 1 and 2. Moving back to 11th. Oh boy, Mayfield down to the bottom. Earnhardt got a bit loose on these older tires. Trying to draft off of the 0-1 of Joe Nemechek. Again, is in 10th place. Junior's trying to charge forward. This might be the longest green flag run of the race right now. We're sitting at about 25 laps on this current green flag run. And I think the field's going to get a lot more spaced apart once we get to green flag pit stops as well. And probably the next 10 laps or so. Bill, welcome to the stream. Earnhardt lifts. Keeps Nemechek in line in front of him. Jeremy Mayfield took a peek to the outside. Not going to have enough of a run to get around him. Dale Jr. was a good driver. I mean, he's not like... What does he have, like 26 career cup wins, 27? Two-time Daytona 500 winner. I'd say he was a good driver. Off of driving alone, without the championship, it's borderline Hall of Famer. Off the driving alone. And if that is the discussion, I think that makes you a good driver. "26 wins in probably the toughest era of NASCAR is not easy." Earnhardt in the wall, can't get off of it. Turns 1 and 2. Earnhardt now has to get back down to the bottom. He's starting to go backwards. He got up to 11th and is now back to 15th after restarting 25th. Losing time on pit road during the pit stops under the last caution. Michael Waltrip is back in front, or right behind, I should say, the 8 of Earnhardt. 2 tires next stop. I was thinking the same thing. Try to gain a little bit of time back. He did have green flag pit stops and a long green flag run to end the dual race earlier, though that green flag run was about 40 laps. 41 to be exact. We had 3 cautions in the beginning of that race, but 8 of them total. Of course, the field twice as many cars in it. they get congested together, it is pandemonium. The good thing for Dale Jr. is he has kept his car clean today, and that's why he is going to have a shot to win this race if he continues to keep the car clean. Last 4 years, stock carried. I'd pretty much say from like the last 3 years for Dale Jr. Like 2014 was a great year for him still. He was a championship contender. 2015 on though, yeah. His winning days for the most part were... I mean, he would still win from time to time. He never had a shot at a championship after that. And even before that, he went a long period not being anywhere close to a championship contender too. Joe Nemechek going to pit that time by, and this is where we're going to start seeing green flag pit stops over the next little bit. And we are halfway home in the Daytona 500, 100 laps down, 100 to go. We'll get through the trivia question after the next set of pit stops because green flag pit stops are coming up. Got fake Jimmy Johnson in the chat. He's saying fire, and it's probably because Jimmy Johnson's been on fire in this race. Johnson has led every lap from lap 42 to now, and that was following the restart at lap 41 when he was able to get around Junior. Had a caution which trapped Junior back in traffic. And Junior hasn't led since, but he dominated, Dale did, the very beginning of the race. More of the leaders on pit road. Johnson still on the track. And only 3 different leaders in the race total. Michael Waltrip, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson. Not a lot of lead changes. We've seen a lot of good, hard, competitive racing. Earnhardt to the inside of Michael Waltrip. Is he close enough behind Bobby Labonte to draft off of him? Oh, Labonte got the... Jeez, Junior got in the wall too. I think Labonte caught it a bit more, and it's going to allow Dale Jr. to close the gap on him. Dale about 6.4 seconds behind Jimmy Johnson. Johnson is not pit yet. Some cars are a lap down right now. Earnhardt has to lift into 3 and 4 to try to get the car to turn. It's going to be a gamble, taking right sides only. How much grip matters at this old Daytona surface. Kevin Harvick will lead his first lap of the day. Jimmy Johnson, the race leader, on pit road. Junior staying out in case we get a caution with some of these guys going a lap down right now. Waltrip, Labonte continue to stay on the track. That's going to give Dale Jr. at least a little bit of drafting help for now. Quick pit stop early in the day for Earnhardt. Not so much on the second pit stop. Tucked in line on the bottom behind Labonte. And the 8 is going to pit this time. Can't lock the tires up and trying to outbrake Bobby Labonte as well. Great job getting to pit road for Dale Jr. Right side tires only for Earnhardt. Gonna put a half a round of wedge into the car to try and help tighten it up maybe just a bit more as well. And that will be the only adjustment. And we'll see if it's gonna be a clean stop for the 8 crew. They made a mistake on a pit stop during the dual race earlier today. That was gas and go only on the green flag stop throughout the race. So wedge adjustment and right side tires only for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Going to work his way off of pit road right now, and he's going to hope that he could cycle through as the race leader. Getting up to speed on the bottom of the track in turns 1 and 2. Hoping that this is enough track position. He was 6.4 seconds behind Johnson before Johnson pit. So So again, is the right side tire change enough for Dale Jr. to cycle out as the leader and get this track position back that he desperately needs? He has not been in the top 10 since the last restart, which was at lap 71. And we're in the second half of the race, so it is time to get going. He survived up to this point. All the wrecks have happened around him, and he's been very fortunate to not really be in it. He spun during one, and that was it. Never made contact with the wall, luckily, and everything else. And the only reason he spun is because he clipped one of the cars underneath him of Ryan Newman trying to get out of harm's way, and it knocked him sideways. We're pushing the 97 up towards the front here. And here's the top two working up to speed. Kevin Harvick and looks like Greg Biffle, who blew an engine in dual race 1 earlier today. Dale Jr. will cycle to the lead, taking right side tires only, following his green flag pit stop. He might not lead this time by to the line, though. Oh, big block on Busch. Very risky. Busch may have let the 8 in line. That was a little too risky for Dale Jr., but he is back out in front, and Junior Nation's going wild with 94 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Kyle Busch down to the bottom lane in the 5 car. Underneath his brother Kurt. The old left side tires, there is no grip for Earnhardt to hook the bottom going full throttle even in clean air. Desperately trying to block the Busch brothers behind him. Mike Bliss is in the top 5 still. Johnson's right there with him, who had a slower stop than the Busch brothers. And of course Earnhardt, taking 2 tires, has cycled him to the lead. A lot better to go full throttle through 3 and 4 that time for Dale Jr. Moved up a little bit in the center of the corner. Bliss to the inside for second. I'll have to pause it to get the trivia question tonight, so let me pause it when I get to the back straightaway. As long as I'm not side by side, at least. Earnhardt checking the throttle right now into 1 and 2, so he can make sure he can hold on to the bottom lane in front of Kyle Busch in the 5. So I'll pause it. I'll retrieve tonight's trivia question. Sorry for that. And not have it coming into the race today. Alrighty. I'm going to look up a stat for the 2005 Daytona 500, being that's the race that we are running right now. Alright, well, quick question, I guess. Quick in the sense of trying to find it. Tonight's trivia question on the channel is based off of the 2005 Daytona 500. Who are the only 3 drivers in the 2005 Daytona 500 to lead over 20 laps? Only 3 drivers led over 20 laps in the 2005 Daytona 500. Who were they? Answer in the chat below. Kevin Harvick working his way up to second. He led a couple laps during green flag pit stops. That was it for him. The first laps Dale Jr. has led since lap 41 today, by the way, was when he led at the line at lap 107. And he may get put back in the sucker hole right now. Almost went 3 wide middle in the back straightaway. Harvick was looking low as Kyle Busch looked to the outside, fanning out. I'll try to look at the chat as much as possible, see if anybody gets the question right. I think what I'm going to do is just give you guys the answer to the trivia question as soon as I see it, if I see it. And if I don't see it by lap 120, then I'll give it to you guys. This is a handful, just trying to race the racetrack and race the car, let alone race in the pack and trying to read the chat. But I'm doing my best tonight, and I haven't wrecked, thankfully, doing it. Years of practice, a couple years of practice paying off. So again, I want you guys, those of you that are giving single answers, give the answer to all three. One person has to get all three of them tonight, so not so much a team effort on this trivia question. Again, we're the only 3 drivers to lead more than 20 laps in the 2005 Daytona 500. Oh, Kevin Harvick just got the wall off turn 4. Jimmy Johnson shoots the gap to second, looks to the outside in the tri-oval on Earnhardt. Earnhardt with the block. Johnson, probably the fastest car in the field today. Earnhardt was fast early, but Jimmy Johnson has led the most laps. He's trying to hold on out in front. I see Gordon, Stewart, Dale Jr. almost, but not quite on that one. Kurt Busch to the inside of Jimmy Johnson. I see a Stewart, Gordon, and Dale Jr. as well. Yeah, I see a couple of those. Those are close. But no other hints other than that. Stewart, Johnson, Gordon, nope. Ooh, Biffle almost got the wall back there. Roush cars have been fast when they haven't been blowing engines. Mainly during the 500 and in the Daytona duel earlier. Where's Jimmy Johnson going to go as Kurt Busch gets to the outside of the 8 of Dale Jr.? Johnson went with Earnhardt. Kurt Busch didn't have a lot of help up high. Kurt Busch with a run, though, off turn 4. To the outside. Earnhardt leads that lap. He's trying to get more laps led to catch up to Johnson if at all possible. Earnhardt's led almost 40. Well, probably closer to 50 since taking the lead at lap 107. And Jimmy Johnson led for probably about 50 to 60 laps. Johnson leads in the most laps led category right now, but not by much. Top 10 qualify for the chase at the end of the regular season. It is not Biffle, Johnson, or Kurt Busch, not Johnson, Harvick, or Kurt. I have to wait till the front stretch, check out some more answers. Jimmy with a run up high. Kurt Busch going to go to the bottom with Earnhardt. Johnson leads that lap at the line by inches. Johnson gets cleared by Earnhardt up high. Junior down low to block Kurt Busch in the middle. And Johnson again has the run to the outside. Tony Stewart trying to get the middle lane working. Not Stewart, Harvick, or Dale Jr. either. Stewart dominated 2005. Yes, he did. He did not win the race. You guys are close. I've seen a few close answers, but I haven't seen the correct answer yet. We've seen 8 cautions today, and this is the longest green flag run of the day yet. I don't know if this is going to end well. And the way the Speed Weeks has gone, let alone just the 500. We had 10 cautions in the Busch race yesterday. What happened to Kurt Busch? Huh? Did anybody see Kurt Busch just, like, phantom? Oh, contact! What a save by Earnhardt! Oh, my goodness! Off turn 2 as he tried to block Jimmy Johnson. He made a big-time save. Save of the race. And the left rear is wearing out on the 8. No surprise after that slide. Plus, those left side tires are older as well. Took right sides only during the last stop. Gordon Stewart, Waltrip, almost. You almost got that one. Waltrip, Stewart, Johnson, that's close too. Waltrip, Stewart, Gordon, close. Somebody's going to get it eventually. Stewart, Gordon, Busch, no. Speaking of Busch, here comes Kyle Busch. Looking for the lead. Greg Biffle going to go with the 5. Stewart down low with Earnhardt. Earnhardt side drafts the 5 of Busch. Very aggressively in the tri-oval. What a battle for the lead in the Daytona 500 with just over 80 laps to go. Busch to the lead. Earnhardt slides in line between Biffle and Busch up high. Challenges back to the inside into turn 3. Earnhardt gonna go for it. Up the track. Clear. What a run. And he's in the wall off turn 4. Here comes Stewart down low. I think Junior's gonna lead this lap somehow. He does. This is getting nuts, and I don't know if these guys are going to be able to hold on much longer. Stewart to the lead. Johnson nearly in the wall on the outside behind. Junior's falling back on the outside now that he's lost the track position, and he has the 2 old left side tires. Gets loose off turn 2. Nearly turned himself off the front of the 41 of Mears. Mears might have backed out of the gas to let him go. Stewart leads. Biffle may get underneath him. Now the left front's wearing out a bit on the 8. These guys are going at it right now. We're in the middle of trivia. Johnson. Stewart, Waltrip, Gordon, no. I've seen a lot of Stewart, Waltrip, Gordons. That is not right. Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon. No, I've seen a lot of those too. You guys are close. I don't know if I've seen the right answer. Which is probably why you guys are repeating it. I get that. I'm trying to look at the chat as much as I can. This is action-packed in the race and in the chat, the trivia. Again, who are the 3 drivers that lead over 20 laps in the 2005 Daytona 500? If I don't see the answer, I give the trivia question. You guys say, "Oh, I saw that," or "No, I already put that." Sorry, but I'll give the answer at lap 120, which we are coming up on very shortly. On the 2 older left side tires, it looks like Dale Jr. is at least still able to stay in the draft. In 5th place. Trying to get to the inside of Biffle. Biffle with a big block and was clear. Who are the 3 drivers to lead the most laps essentially in the 2005 Daytona 500? Waltrip, Gordon, Stewart. No. I've seen a lot of those. Terry Road, welcome to the stream. Wade Solinsky, welcome. We're on the back straightaway. Which 3 drivers led the most laps in the 2005 Daytona 500? The answer was Tony Stewart, who led the most with 107. The second most was Michael Waltrip with 42 laps led. And the third most was Dale Earnhardt Jr. with 29 laps led. So again, that is the answer to tonight's trivia question. I saw very close answers. I saw a lot of Earnhardts, Gordons, Waltrips, and Stewarts, but none of them had the 3 combination. Had the combination of the 3 correct. Again, Tony Stewart with the most, Waltrip was 2nd, Dale Jr. in 3rd. Top 4 pulling away a little bit. Johnson going to try to let, Jr. going to try to let Jimmy Johnson in line in front of him. Off of turn 2 so he could draft behind him. Stewart led 107, yep. Led the most laps. I think he finished outside the top 15. Waltrip 42. Gordon 29? I thought Dale Jr. led 29. Hang on. I might have to fact check myself. Jr. led 2 laps. That does not seem right. Hang on, let me look. I might have had it wrong. Gordon led 29. Jr. Okay, Jr. led 2. My bad on that. Sorry, guys. You guys had the... I saw the correct answer a lot in the chat then. My bad. I took the quick glance, and I thought Dale Jr. was in there. Gordon led 29. Earnhardt led 2. My bad. So, yeah. Tony Stewart led the most. Michael Waltrip second most. Jeff Gordon third most. So I guess a lot of people got it right in the chat. Sorry for getting that wrong. I was trying to concentrate on the race so much that I almost forgot the answer. Well, I did forget the answer to the trivia question, so sorry for that. Looks like a lot of you guys got it right. My bad. There was a lot going on in the race. For those of you not only trying to get the trivia question right, but this has been wildly chaotic in the pack. And now less than 80 laps to go in the Daytona 500 as these guys are racing it out to the finish. Tony Stewart leads and is trying to win his first ever Great American race. He actually won our Daytona 500 in the custom schedule season on NASCAR 05. Mike Bliss going to make a pass on the bottom underneath Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 6th. Mike Bliss has been in the top 10 all day. And you never know, under the right circumstances, he might win this race. Jr. grazes the wall. Off turn 4. I think he's going to be able to stay in the draft of the 0. Go Dolenbach reigns. I don't even know if all 3 of those guys were in that race. I don't think Dolenbach was. I guess Fox had the race that year. Maybe he was. I don't think he was. Got a little bit of a 4-car breakaway going on right now. Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson closing in. Casey Mears, Mike Bliss, Bobby Labonte in 9th. All trying to catch up. Bliss underneath Johnson for 6th. Junior getting a little up the racetrack. Side draft in the 48. Bliss has cleared Jimmy Johnson for 5th. What a run for Mike Bliss in the Daytona 500. Rookie is putting on a show, and Earnhardt's going to follow him to get to 6th place. Right behind Jimmy. Slides up in front of Johnson. Grazes the wall. It's going to cost Earnhardt a little bit of time. Earnhardt lifts on the outside, drops in line behind Jimmy. I guess after passing Johnson the lap before, he's right back to 8th place again anyway. Like, one car is down on the bottom and had blown an engine. Earnhardt loose in the tri-oval. Clipped the apron. Still going backwards. These old left side tires are starting to catch up with him. Casey Mears in the 41 drops in front. I think this is Mayfield. Either Jeremy Mayfield or Casey Kane. It is Mayfield right behind Earnhardt. Earnhardt gets sideways off 2. Stayed in the gas and stayed in front of Labonte, luckily, as he moved up the track. Over 30 people watching our NASCAR 06 Daytona 500, 75 laps to go. Longest green flag run of the race so far. Lap 71 was the last restart. We've had 8 cautions today, and none of them Dale Jr.'s been involved in a wreck in. This game, what we've noticed from Speed Week so far, you get involved in a wreck, you're going to be slow following the accident because of damage. And you're likely not going to have a shot to win. And with the 4 races on the season and a few 50% races this year, this is going to be really tough. And the Daytona 500 being a 500-miler, obviously going to be tough. Mayfield going to get around Earnhardt as Earnhardt is losing a lot of positions on the racetrack right now. Back to 9th. He was the leader after green flag pit stops, taking right side tires only after being 6.4 seconds off the lead before. So that's kind of the window to barely make it out as the leader, is about 6.4 seconds off the lead if you take 2 tires, which again, he took right sides only. So that means it's going to be left sides only for Earnhardt if we get to another green flag stop. And he might even do that under caution anyway to try and gain time as well. Only because he is back to 9th place. Bump drafting Mayfield in the middle of turn 1. Wasn't really intentional. Earnhardt lifted to keep from both cars wrecking. It was a danger spot to bump draft, and that's not what Earnhardt wanted to do whatsoever. I don't think he's going to lose the draft of Mayfield or Mears, though. Mayfield to the inside of Mears, in fact. Mayfield got a good run down the backstretch with that push. He held on to it well. And slides up clear of Mears off of turn 4 for 7th place. Again, Tony Stewart is the 5th different leader in the race today. Mears trying to cross over. Green flag pit stop's going to be coming up fairly soon. Earnhardt getting tight, stays in the gas, full throttle, didn't want to lift. In line behind Mears, that's another spot up to 8th right before green flag stops are going to start again. It's going to be the 4th pit stop of the race, the 2nd under green flag conditions. We've had 2 pit stops under yellow today. Tighten the car up? I don't know. It's tight on entry, but it's loose on exit with the old left side tires. Wow. Staying in the gas, full throttle still. I think I might drop the wedge back down and put a pound of air pressure into it. Well, no, I'm not going to be able to do that because that's only going to add air pressure to the left side tire. It's not going to add it to the right side. So that kind of balance is going to be way out of whack. That's going to mess the car up. I mean, it's still got top 10 speed on 2 old left side tires, which it is a super speedway, but again, old Daytona, very bumpy, tires matter. Junior did lead a lot of laps during this run until about lap 120-ish, just shy of that. Jose Sanchez, welcome to the stream. Everyone done with NASCAR 21? I'm not done with it. We're on the final season. I plan on finishing it when the time comes. Joji, welcome to the stream. You guys are saying tighten it up. It's tight on corner entry. I really don't know what adjustments I'm going to make, if any. Taking right sides only, tighten the car up. Or should have loosened the car up, and it loosened it up on the exit, but it's tight on entry. And it's been tight in dirty air all race weekend, but this is definitely the best setup I've had in it during the 500 going into the race compared to the Busch, the truck race, and even the dual race earlier. After all the laps that we've ran with the full races, and all 3 of those races, I finally had something click. It was fast enough for the pole, and we finished 12th in the dual race. We've been running a lot better in the 500. Earnhardt's been as far back as 25th, but he's worked his way back to the lead and back in the top 10 on strategy. And he's got pace. Very good commitment. Yeah, I've been going back to it about once every week, every other week. We've been running a race. I think we're at Road America next. Got about 18 or 19 races left in the season. No, 17. 17 races left, 7 until the playoffs. Mears and Earnhardt are definitely closing in on this pack up ahead. I believe we're still 3 stops out from the finish of the race. Earnhardt lifts a little bit, 1 and 2. Mears holds on in front of him. 2 cars almost into each other up near the outside wall, and off the exit of turn 2. Earnhardt going to get a little loose. Stays in the gas. I think there was nearly contact between Harvick and whoever was right in front of him off the exit of turn 2. Oh, Earnhardt goes around. He saved it. Oh, what a save by Earnhardt. That was strange. He just lost it in the middle of the corner. He saved it. He never hit anything. Our 9th yellow of the race. Problem is, he probably flat spotted the tires, and he is Gonna pit. Didn't take the wedge out of the car, which may be an issue. 4 tires and fuel for Dale Jr. and a new pair of britches. How do you save the race car in the middle of the corner like that at Daytona and everybody misses you? I have no clue. I kind of spammed through the caution replay by accident. Oh, that is going to be a slow stop for Earnhardt. One car was pulling into his box as he was pulling out. Wow, that was unbelievable. I've never had the car just loop around on me like that before. I mean, it just looped out. Don't get on the bottom of the track, just spin out. I didn't touch the apron, I don't think. I mean, it just slipped out from underneath me. I didn't think I touched the apron. Well, he's still in 8th place, right where he spun out when the caution came out, so no spots gained or lost on pit road for Dale Jr. And he's back on 4 fresh tires, as is the field, because he was able to save it. And because he saved it, he still has speed in the race car. It's unbelievable in and of itself. Not a bad restart by any means. Again, that was our 9th caution of the race today. After the longest green flag run from lap 71 to lap 134. Big run for Earnhardt to the inside of Bobby Labonte. Will it work? Sliding up the track, trying to take Labonte's line away in the middle of 1 and 2. It's squeezed between Labonte and Edwards. It works. Now Junior's in line behind Carl Edwards in the 99. A move to the bottom for Earnhardt. A touch from Edwards. Earnhardt up another spot to 6th. If I win this race, save of the century. In 1 and 2 at Daytona. I don't know how I didn't hit it. I didn't hit the wall. I didn't hit another. Nobody hit me. I don't know how I spun out. I didn't feel like I was on the apron. I guess I might have been, but I didn't feel like it. I felt like, I mean, things happen so easy in this game. You guys say, don't run the bottom. When you have the run and you're trying to make a passenger car, you're going to go to the bottom. It's just a natural thing to do. Junior going to go high in 1 and 2. Traces the wall a little bit. He was just trying to let Edwards in front of him. Might lose a little bit too much momentum because of it, though. Yeah, that's not what Junior was trying to do. He went to the outside and couldn't hold on to the line. Wanted Carl Edwards in front of him. Matt Kenseth down low. Edwards all by himself right now. Junior trying to draft off of Carl. Down the back straightaway. Remember when I only had 10 viewers on a week? Thank you. Thank you for sticking it out, man. And you're blocking Kenseth up high. Again, trying to stay with Carl Edwards in the 99, who's all by himself, and Edwards not close enough to the lead pack. Top 5 really had a great launch on the restart. Earnhardt got around the first 2 cars, but he couldn't keep up with the lead pack. He was just barely off of him. Earnhardt has stayed out of trouble all day. Even if that means he spun the one time twice and missed the wall both times. That time, though, wasn't because he was trying to miss a wreck and just got sideswiped. That one was all on him. He lost control on older left side tires in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And if he wasn't able to save it, it was going to be race over for Earnhardt. Instead, he's still in it with a shot to win the Great American Race. 59 laps to go. Rookie Carl Edwards in 6th, drafting in front of Earnhardt. Earnhardt, one of the fastest cars on the field, of course, right in line behind Edwards. Edwards trying to run the outside. That's not where Dale Jr. wants him to run. I think if I didn't have old left side tires, I don't think anything would have been bad leading to that spin. But because the car was loose from center off, and I got to the center of the corner like that, it just looped right around on me. It almost felt like a tire blew, but I knew it didn't because the tires weren't in the red yet. Unless I ran over a piece of debris, but we didn't get to see the replay to verify if that was the case. I don't think I ran over any debris. We had one debris caution today. No caution immediately after this restart, so we'll see if we get another long green flag run. This would barely be the longest green flag run of the race if we stay green to the end. The one before that caution was 64 laps. And we went green this time, I believe, was about 64 to go, 137 actually. So this would tie the longest green flag run of the race at 64 laps if it does go green to the finish. And we are likely just one stop out potentially from the end of the race, if not 1-2. Edwards and Earnhardt are closing in. Again, just a quick reminder, I have not won at Daytona on the NASCAR EA Sports video games in the Cup Series, at least for points playing races. The only 2 Daytona wins in the Cup Series I have on NASCAR Thunder 04, NASCAR 05, and now even NASCAR 06 is 2 dual races at Daytona. No points wins, 0 for 10. First try on NASCAR 06. We have had bad luck all speed weeks. Haven't had a top 10 in the truck race. Finished 34th, finished 37th with Dale Jr. in the Busch race. Led a couple laps, qualified on the pole, but ended up 37th. Got caught up in a wreck in both of those races. Stayed out of trouble for the most part in the dual race, finished 12th. Daytona 500, for the most part, top 10 most of the day. Was back in 25th after a restart earlier. Raced back up to 11th before getting to the lead after a 2-tire stop. Fell back to, 8th place before that last caution came out. And now trying to charge back to the top 5, which is pulled away following the restart. Judd 3300, welcome to the stream. Mike Bliss and Carl Edwards, though, 2 rookies right now in the top 6 in the 500 with just 56 to go. Eric Crocker won her first Busch race at Daytona last night. Mark Martin, not really an upset driver, winning the dual race. Shane Meal won the second dual race, though, at Daytona that we did not see. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, and we had a fantasy driver win the truck race. So a fantasy rookie there. So it has been a story of the rookies. Rookie Busch winner, rookie dual winner, rookie truck winner. Well, we have a rookie Daytona 500 winner. And this time period in NASCAR, that really didn't happen. 2005, we've seen it a few times in recent years. Trevor Bayne, Austin Cindric this season, but can we see it in the year 2005 and in the game NASCAR 06 Total Team Control? Junior tucked right in line behind Carl Edwards. Managing the gas on corner entry with Edwards running the top so Junior doesn't carry too much speed on entry and get underneath him or get into him, because he has such a big run each time. Car's pulling out of line up ahead. Dale Jr. going to give a little bump draft to Carl Edwards on the back straightaway. That's risky. But if anybody can do it, it's Dale Jr. Gave him a little shot before going off into the corner, trying to carry just a bit more speed. He hit him square, so they were able to get it to work. And will we stay green to the end of the race as well? How will the pit stops work out? Pit crew has been, for the most part, pretty good for Dale Jr. today. One car nearly in the outside wall towards the front of the field. Edwards and Dale Jr. can run the bottom of the racetrack. I think they will have a little bit more success. Jr. going to give another bump draft to Edwards. Another quick shot. Lifts a bit before rolling into turns 3 and 4. Didn't run all the way up to the outside that time, more of the middle lane. Quite a bit faster that last lap for Edwards and Earnhardt. 46.925, I believe, was the lap time for the 99 and the 8. Junior almost in the wall. Had to lift a bit. Now there's a little bit of a gap between Edwards and Earnhardt again. Off turn 2. Should be able to keep up with him even though there's no help behind Earnhardt. I don't think Edwards is getting a draft off the pack in front of him. Otherwise that will probably pull Edwards away from Earnhardt. Wasn't quite there yet. Big close into 1 and 2. Edwards pulls down to the bottom in the middle of the corner. Down low with Earnhardt. That's where Earnhardt wants Edwards to run. We pit a few times, but we still have a couple more. At least one more to the end of the race. Maybe 2, depending on how cautions play out. Junior lifted a little bit. He was going to let Edwards get down to the bottom again right in front of him. Didn't happen. Junior lost a little bit. Now Edwards may be close enough to draft. Behind the 0 car of Mike Bliss. It's got to be almost frustrating how close Edwards and Earnhardt are. A big breakaway, though, for the top 6 as a whole right now. Bliss towards the outside. Better be careful up there. He might be in danger of losing the pack. We're about halfway through the fuel run. This is at least within striking distance with 50 laps to go for Earnhardt and Edwards, so I don't think they're complaining right now. I think they do have the speed to catch this group. Edwards again, though, going a bit wide. Junior has to follow him towards the outside. Middle to upper groove this time through 1 and 2. Big run. Down the backstretch. Earnhardt going to pull out a line on Edwards. Risky move for Dale Jr. to make the pass for 6. He'll easily get around Edwards, but is he going to be close enough to draft behind Mike Bliss in the 0? Or did Dale Jr. make the move too early? Edwards in line behind the 8. Jr. desperately hoping Edwards can practically push the 8. And Junior could stay close to the 0 of Mike Bliss, which he is so close to right now in the share draft. Junior might have made his move just a tad too quickly. Down the back straightaway. Edwards staying together right now with the 8. Junior at least has some clean air in front of him. He's able to hook the bottom full throttle. Bliss holds low off the exit of the corner. They are racing up there for this lead. 2 by 2 through the top 5 in the 500. They're not single file anymore. Hey, don't say anything about those bots. We haven't had them all speed weeks long. We're going to hope it stays that way. Oh, looked like there was a little bit of contact off turn 2. I'm not sure if it was any bump drafting or what the case was. Junior might let Edwards get back in front of him again. Junior made the move a little too early for 6th. 1 second off the lead. A 0.1 maybe off the lead. Everybody going towards the outside. The middle of the corner, not Edwards and Earnhardt though. They stay hooked to the bottom. On the back straightaway, they'll move back up to the outside. Kevin Harvick is the leader with 45 laps to go in the Great American Race. I think one car may have brushed the wall off of turn 4 up ahead. Earnhardt on the outside in the tri-oval. He's going to let Carl Edwards get underneath him. A little scrape off the wall for Earnhardt. I think he's going to keep enough momentum to stay in line behind Edwards, though, but you can definitely tell the 8 and the 99 have lost a little bit of time. 100 feet from the pack. I know, it's so close. Just couldn't quite get the draft. Barely hanging on to Mike Bliss, but couldn't get the forward momentum. Earnhardt drafts behind Edwards again. And we'll see if they can make up enough ground this time. Definitely passed halfway during this current fuel run. 1.4 seconds off the lead at the line that time for Edwards and Earnhardt. If they can run more of the bottom, I think they're going to have a better chance. Ran the middle groove that time. Through turns 1 and 2. Earnhardt going to give a quick bump trap to Edwards on the back straightaway. And they'll run the bottom through 3 and 4. It's 1.4 at the line last time. We'll see what it is this time. Harvick still leading. Earnhardt and Edwards about 0.2 of a second quicker than the pack in front of them. That last lap. Can they pick more time up? Edwards went high, Earnhardt went low, and Edwards again getting a little bit of a pull. He's not on the outside to draft behind the lead pack. He may be close enough to do it. Dale Jr. going to stay down low, or in the middle lane at least, with Edwards. Edwards runs the middle groove through 3 and 4. Maybe Edwards' car is set up to run the outside. Who knows? Trek Franklin, welcome to Stream Yellow would be good. I don't know. I feel confident in the pit crew. They have not made a mistake today. Knock on wood. Working the throttle. One car might have grazed the wall in 3rd place. I think it wasn't Mike Bliss. Bliss is in 5th. Not sure who that might have been. Actually, it may have been Bliss. Again, Junior gets underneath Edwards, trying to draft behind Mike Bliss. Is he close enough this time? Cleared the 99. Barely, and I mean barely hanging on to the draft. Nearly side by side for the lead as well. Again, just not quite close enough for Dale Jr. Lifts a little bit as he gets to the outside through 1 and 2. That was a move to get Edwards back in front of him quickly. Good transition. It's almost like tandem racing between Edwards and Earnhardt right now. They didn't lose as much time, though. They're only 1.2 seconds off the lead. That was a pretty quick transition. 40 laps to go in the Great American Race this time by. One of the leaders just grazed the wall off turn 4. Might have slowed the pack up a bit more. Edwards and Earnhardt, 1/10 of a second quicker that last lap, and that was even with the transition taking place in 1 and 2. Somebody almost got the wall again in 1 and 2 now. It looked like it's Kyle Busch in the 5, but a entirely sure who it is. Now on the back straightaway, Earnhardt's going to pull out a line again on Carl Edwards, and this time I think he has just enough to stay in line behind the 0 of Mike Bliss. Bliss underneath Busch. Staying low, off turn 4, out of the outside in front of Edwards. And in line behind Kyle Busch in the 5, and I think Dale Jr. might be clung on to the rear of the pack. Junior's there. I don't know if Edwards is going to be able to hold on or not, but Dale Jr.'s there. Junior to the outside of Kyle Busch. Blocked by Busch up high. Junior going to get underneath him. And I don't know how the run didn't stall out for Dale Jr., but he made the move. He's up to 4th and in line behind Biffle. Kyle Busch pulled out a line to follow the 8. Almost gets into the left rear of Dale Jr. Jr. went wide to give Busch as much room as possible. In the tri-oval now. 38 to go in the Great American Race. Harvick, Stewart, 1-2. Biffle, Earnhardt, and Kyle Busch round out the top 5. 2 rookies. 3 rookies, in fact. 5th, 6th, and 7th of Busch, Bliss, and Edwards. Stewart down to block Biffle on the inside. Earnhardt has a run. Pulls out a line on the 16. Now he's underneath Stewart for 2nd as they go into turns 3 and 4. Harvick blocks the 8 down on the bottom. Junior has driven his way to 2nd. Biffle going to get around Stewart for 3rd. And into the tri-oval. Dale Jr. underneath Harvick for the lead. Leads that lap by inches at the line. Junior Nation on their feet again at Daytona as Dale Jr. trying to go for back-to-back Daytona 500 victories has just taken the lead briefly away from Harvick. Harvick's in the wall off turn 2. Biffle's going to be clear for 2nd down low as Earnhardt only has to block him now. Terrible speed weeks, but Dale Jr. has hung on. He spun. He made a save with just less than 80 to go. Has stayed out of trouble. He's kept the car clean. It is still fast. Biffle up high. Nearly contact. Biffle trying to side draft the right rear corner panel of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s race car. We'll alternate through the different camera angles once again in today's race. Seeing some great action at the front of the pack in the Daytona 500. Nobody went with Greg Biffle, and that stalled his run out towards the outside. Kevin Harvick is looking for the lead now. Stewart down low. Junior to block him on the inside. Biffle and Harvick into turn 3. Up high. Not going to make it. Dale Jr. controls the pack again. 35 to go this time by. They're going to be within the fuel window to make it to the end. It is a one-stopper to the end. It looks like Carl Edwards and Mike Bliss from the lead pack will pit. Junior leads that lap at the line. Tony Stewart working to the outside. Tony Stewart up high in front of the 29 of Harvick. Junior going to stay on the bottom with Dale Earnhardt. Ooh, boy, Junior got a little loose off turn 2. Stayed in the gas. Biffle and Kyle Busch on his back bumper. Tires getting a little older at this point in the run. Trying to stay on the bottom. Kyle Busch thought about going 3 wide up the middle between Biffle and Stewart. Thought better of it. Lap cars coming off of pit road down on the bottom. They're going to try to get up to speed into turns 1 and 2. Earnhardt's in the wall. He got tight. And Busch is going to get to the lead off of turn 2. Costly mistake for Dale Jr. Got a bit too tight. Kyle Busch going to get to the lead, but he has no help. And the 4-car pack still racing behind. R6, welcome to the stream. Still in striking distance to get to the lead. Dale Jr. is going to pit this time by. I'm not sure how much further he can go on fuel, but he'll be good to the end as we have 33 laps to go. So Dale Jr., the plan will be to pit this time by. Harvick's lost a little bit of time behind Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, and Greg Biffle. Kyle Busch pulling to the bottom. I think he's going to pit. Dale Jr. underneath Tony Stewart. For second, Jr. side draft Stewart. Stewart's not going to pit because he's on the outside. Kyle Busch is coming into the pits this time. And Jr. trying to outbrake him onto pit road. And he does. And did not speed. Right side tires only for Dale Earnhardt Jr. No adjustments this time. And gonna take a full tank of fuel. This might give him a little bit of breathing room. Final stop of the day. Toxic Punk Young Boy, welcome to the stream. Getting NASCAR Chase for the Cup tomorrow. Awesome. Dale Jr.'s clear. He's going to pull up wide onto the racetrack. And I think he's going to be the leader once everything cycles through. Taking the right sides only. It's a gamble. His car is going to be unsteady to the end. Didn't lock the tires up, making it into the pits, and he still was able to brake late. So he actually got around Busch, so he gained time there as well. Topped off on fuel, so good on fuel to the end of the race. Can the left side tires make it to the end of the run? He is going to have to go nearly 80 laps on tires. Well, 64. We went green with 64 to go, so 64 laps is what Dale Jr. is going to have to make it on the left side tires to the end of the race. Michael Waltrip might be on pit road right now. Actually, Waltrip may actually be out of the race even. I don't know how factual that is, but I think Waltrip's out of the race. Because that X has been over him for a long time. 30 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Tony Stewart continues to lead. He'll pit this time. There's Harvick coming out of the pits. Dale Jr. back tonight. Whoa, got a little loose in 1 and 2. He carried too much speed and he had the left side tires down on the bottom. Almost lost it again on the old left side tires. Don't blow this, Keegan. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think Waltrip's out. Might have blew up. Waltrip blew up like 10 laps ago. Thanks for comment in the chat. I was wondering. Hopefully that doesn't mean anything for Earnhardt and Truex. Remember, Earnhardt changed the gearings in the 8 car between the dual race and the 500. $29 laps to go, and there's the rest of the leaders on the bottom. Biffle winning the race out of the pits there. Dale Jr. is going to be a few seconds ahead of the pack. He'll retake the race lead this time by at the start-finish line. NASCAR fan from the 90s. Can't bear to watch NASCAR the same. Well, that's unfortunate that you feel that way, but welcome to the stream. And do live commentary for the video games during the week, yes, but also the real races on the race weekend. I'll be doing live commentary for the Texas All-Star race this weekend, in fact, for anybody new. So like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we are Getting down to the wire in the Daytona 500 right now. 3.5 second lead for Dale Jr. If it stays green to the end, it'll be tied for the longest green flag run of the race. And that pack, once they get to Dale Jr., is going to have a big run. Because Dale Jr. is all by himself, and he has old left side tires to get him the track position. It's going to be close in the laps led category between Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. Stewart led a lot of laps too, but I think it's Johnson and Jr. battling for the most laps led. Again, the top 10 at the end of the regular season will make it to the chase. And the left rear is in the yellow right now in the tire wear indicator with 27 to go. The left front will end up joining it pretty soon here as well. That last lap, they were about 0.8 of a second quicker than Dale Jr. with Jr. by himself and on the old left side tires. Dale Jr. trying to win back-to-back Daytona 500s. Not as slow that last lap. He wasn't quite 0.8 of a second slower that time. Probably closer to actually about 0.7 of a second slower, but it might buy him an extra lap. My heart's beating right now because I know what's going to happen when that field catches up, and it's going to be pandemonium just like it has been pretty much since about 80 laps to go. Business picked up. It has been pandemonium all race considering we've had 9 cautions. But remember, we had 7 yellows in the first 71 laps and only 2 since then. So it has really calmed down, or actually 8 cautions in the first 71 laps. And then we had the 1 yellow at lap 134. We haven't had one since. Kyle Busch in the 5 is going to be the first car to catch Dale Earnhardt Jr. And it'll likely be this lap, as he'll likely catch him in the draft in turns 1 and 2. And now it is time, with 25 to go, to have a heated battle for the win. 0 for 11 in Daytona points races. And I've never won the Daytona 500. 0 for 5. Or 0 for 10, sorry. Not 0 for 11, but 0 for 10 at Daytona in the EA Sports games in the Cup Series on points races, and 0 for 5 in the Daytona 500. 0 for 4, excuse me, in the Daytona 500 on the EA Sports games as well. Kyle Busch is going to lead that lap at the line. Dale Jr. in second, right behind him. Mike Bliss in third. Into turn 1, Earnhardt looks low under Busch. He's not done fighting him. He's going to side draft him up the track in 1 and 2. Can't get all of it to get around him and drops in line behind him off the exit of turn 2. He's going to have to try the run again. He'll have a little extra help with Mike Bliss in third. Bliss going low. Earnhardt goes low. Busch couldn't go low to block. Too big of a run from Earnhardt. Earnhardt slides up the track, trying to take Busch's line away in the middle of the corner. He's clear for the lead off turn 4. And back down to the bottom to hold and check Mike Bliss. Busch may have gotten back to the outside. Couple more laps of alternating through the camera angles, then we'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of the race. Dale Jr. down low, Kyle Busch up high, Busch with the run off the exit of turn 2. And again, back to the lead. Oh, there was one car up there, didn't realize it. Mike Bliss. How about this? Rookies are running 1-2 in the Daytona 500 right now. Coming to 22 laps to go. Biffle only in his 3rd season. Earnhardt would only be in his, 6th season. Earnhardt already a winner in the 500. Big run for Dale Jr. Got inside of Bliss. Kyle Busch saw it. He goes to the bottom as well. Earnhardt trying to squeeze under the 5. Can't do it. but he is up to second. And again, he has older tires. Took right sides only. Try to get him the track position. He was in 9th when the pit stop started. He's under Busch on the back straightaway. No challenge from Kyle Busch that time. Into turn 3 goes Earnhardt on the bottom of the track. Sliding up a bit, clears Kyle Busch. 21 to go. Busch again up high with a run though off the exit of the corner. Corner exit is where Junior has been loose when he took right sides earlier in the race. That happens to be the case now. Busch leads that lap at the line. Biffle gets around Bliss for 3rd. Junior again looks low. Side drafts Kyle Busch. Almost took the air off the 5. You saw him jump up the track and almost got in the wall. 4-car battle right now. Watch Biffle win just because I'm not driving us in the season. Earnhardt under Busch into 3. Biffle, Bliss to the bottom, but they weren't close enough behind Earnhardt initially. Greg Biffle looks to the outside of the 8. Kyle Busch went down low, though. That should help Dale Jr. stay in line behind Kyle Busch and in front of the 16 of Greg Biffle. Martin Truex Jr. nowhere to be found right now in the 1 car. A move faked up high, went down low. Big side draft now. Couldn't get around the 5 of Busch. And there goes Biffle down low and will take over 2nd after Earnhardt's failed pass attempt on the leader. Biffle going back for 2nd place under Greg Biffle. Earnhardt. Contact with Busch. Oh, they saved it up the track. Oh my gosh. Way to Kyle Busch and Dale Jr. to hang on to the race cars. 19 to go in the Great American Race, and Kyle Busch still holds it. That was unbelievable. Biffle again with a run down low off turn 2. Can't clear the 8. Busch goes down low now to try and stall off the inside line that Biffle paved the way for. Dale Jr. gets around Biffle, jumps to the bottom. Busch with the block. He's on the bottom now. Jr. getting a little loose in the middle of the pack. Biffle underneath him. Jr.'s in the wall off turn 4. He's going to lose track position. Biffle and Busch are going to get away. At least for now. 18 laps to go. Earnhardt was trying to hold on for dear life. His tires are getting old. He's going to go high. In front of Mike Bliss. Kenseth underneath. Not going to get enough of a run. Are the top 2 getting too far ahead, though? Because this is a big pack starting to stack up from 3rd on back. Junior wiggled up the track. That's all right, though, this time. He's going to let Kenseth underneath him. Kenseth's going to make the pass for 3rd. And Kenseth trying to win his first Daytona 500 as of the 2005 season. And he wants to go up there and work with Biffle to get one of these 2 Roush cars to victory lane as well. Earnhardt's willing to draft behind Kenseth. He was drafting well behind Edwards earlier. Problem is, again, 2 older tires right now for Dale Jr. And if Kenseth wants to run the outside like Edwards earlier, Jr.'s going to have a hard time trying to do that. Bliss down low. That's not going to help Dale Jr. out either. Dale side drafting. .6 seconds off the race lead right now. It's Kenseth, Earnhardt, Bliss, and Stewart. 4 cars versus 2 at the front. Jimmy Johnson, who may have one of the fastest cars in the field, is in 7th. With Edwards right behind him. Maybe a 10th quicker that last lap for Kenseth and Earnhardt. And the 2000 rookies. Do they have a shot? Do they have enough time? And if Biffle and Busch get spaced apart in any way, that's going to help. Earnhardt stays full throttle that time through 1 and 2. 3 and 4, rather, sorry. Nope, in the wall. He can't do it. He tried to stay full throttle, but he just could not hold the line. Maybe slipping away. Not just the handling of the car either. But they're over 2 seconds back. Still 14 to go. And again, this is going to be tied for the longest green flag run of the race if we do stay green to the end. That's the thing, though. I don't know if Junior wants to give up a spot draft behind somebody anymore in case a caution comes out, because to go from 5th to 1st on old tires on the restart, it's going to be harder to go from 4th to 1st. Here's one guy that might be able to lead the pack to the front, and that is Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He just got around Tony Stewart and Mike Bliss and drafts behind Dale Jr. on the bottom lane through 3 and 4. Johnson led a lot of laps earlier today, and he obviously has fresher tires than Earnhardt, which is definitely going to help. Stewart, though, back to the inside of the 48. Guys are running down Matt Kenseth, who's all by himself right now. Greg Biffle just passed Kyle Busch for the lead off of turn 2 in the Daytona 500. So with 13 to go, Biffle's out in front. Johnson's losing a couple spots. Oh, Stewart and Johnson may have gotten together off 4. A little contact. Almost squeezing smoke into the wall as Bliss is able to get to 5th. Earnhardt has caught Kenseth. Last gasp for the 17 and the 8. Earnhardt getting tight. Had to lift. Had a big run. Couldn't hold it. Bliss to the inside. Contact! Bliss is sideways. Bounces off of the 20 of Stewart. Bliss saved it. We stay green. That checked Earnhardt up. He was already losing ground to Kenseth before that. Probably checked him up even more. Johnson somehow got checked up in all that as well. And Earnhardt has just lost Kenseth in the draft with 11 to go. Stewart, I think, is going to end up running down the 8. They're over 3 seconds off the lead now. Hoping for a caution. I think over 3 seconds is too much to overcome in just 10 laps. Remember, Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle both blew an engine in dual race number 1 earlier today. They had to start at the rear. Greg Biffle, in fact, started last. Kyle Busch, second to last. Or it was 39th or something like that. He was at the tail of the field. But I know for a fact Greg Biffle started P43 today, and he is leading the Daytona 500 with 10 to go. Yeah, I did get into Bliss. I know it was my fault. I'm glad a caution didn't come out. I didn't want to bring out a yellow. I want a natural caution like we've had most of the day. Earnhardt's got to be careful not to be the caution himself as well. Keeps clipping that aprons, flirting with it, just trying to block Stewart on the bottom and hold on to every position possible in case we get a late race restart. 9 laps to go. Earnhardt would want to restart 4th. It's been hit or miss on the restarts all race long, kind of like with the dual race earlier today. I'd say even more, a little bit better here. Little's going to be holding on for dear life for this spot, though. Coming up to block Stewart, back to the bottom, and then back to the exit to the corner on the outside. 8 laps to go in the Daytona 500 for Greg Biffle. Yellow line in play? No, it is not. Not in this game, at least. Oh, Stewart may have gotten in the wall in turn 1. I think he got tight in traffic that time behind the 8. Johnson closing in. A shot at a top 5 for Jimmy Johnson. And the 2 drivers who dominated the race today, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and even Stewart for that matter, none of them are going to win this race. 1 attempt at the green-white checker. If we do get a late caution, yes. We'll have 1 attempt at a green-white checker. Even if it comes out with 199 to go, I don't think the race would end under the yellow. Jimmy Johnson in line behind Dale Jr. Jr. trying to side draft Tony Stewart as Stewart gets around him for 4th. Stewart's going to drop in line now between the 48 and the 20. To the bottom goes Stewart. Johnson going to the outside. May have gotten in the wall. Junior drafts behind Tony Stewart. He's going to look to pass him as soon as he can. Actually, may try to catch up to Matt Kenseth first before he gets around Stewart. He's going to stay with Stewart for now. Stewart's wanting to run the bottom. 5.2 seconds off the lead. Risky because if Dale Jr. gets just even a little tight on entry into the corner or too loose off exit like right there, he may lose Stewart. Especially if he pulls Jimmy Johnson like they did down the backstretch. Staying with the smoke in the draft. On the brakes into the corner and into the wall, and that is why he did not want to give up a spot. And Johnson's going to get by as well. 6 to go. Dale Jr. back to 6. Johnson rounds out the top 5. Junior back to blocking. 4 positions. Bobby Labonte. On the bottom. Edwards up high contact. Dale Jr. nearly going to go around. He's in the wall and down in the grass. Oh my goodness. Pulls back into Labonte. Oh my gosh. No caution, we stay green. And Earnhardt has lost a couple more spots, back to 8th. And Labonte's upset. Golly. Don't want to lose any more points. Junior's just trying to salvage a top 10 on the old left side tires. That big slide, not going to help. And he squeezed Newman into the wall. Back down on Kevin Harvick. Tags him. Gets to the apron. Junior into the wall. Oh, and somehow... and no, my gosh, still no caution. Caution is out. Back in the pack. Finally, they're wrecking. Oh, my gosh. We're going to have a restart. They stacked up at the back of the pack behind all this mess. I don't know who that was that spun. I think it was Brian Vickers in the 25. No, sorry, Shane Meal. Shane Meal in the 08. Nemechek went around. Jason Leffler was involved. Nice to Monkey 92 Hammer. Welcome to the stream. I'm definitely going to have to stay out here. 4 tires instead of 2. I don't know if I would have gotten to the lead, though. That's would have been risky for sure. I mean, it was risky either way. Hindsight's 20/20. Well, we're going to have a restart. I don't know how much damage Dale Jr. has, but I would assume he has some damage, and we're going to have a green-white checker, 2 laps to go on the restart. Can Greg Biffle hold on? He's got the full pack now in front of him. Kyle Busch likely going to lose second. Junior's tires are shot right now. Slides up in front of Newman. Trying to hold on to a top 10 as they're 3x3 back behind him. Biffle going to lead the field into 3 and 4, and if they get to the white flag, no cautions on the final lap of the EA Sports NASCAR video games. So again, no cautions on the final lap. And they're going to get there. Biffle leads, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Dale Jr. trying to hold on to a top 10. Trying to get around Jeff Burton in the 31 car. Into turns 3 and 4, or 1 and 2, sorry. Up the track goes Dale Jr. Oh, he gets loose off of turn 4. He saves it. No, the car got sideways. Multiple spots lost as he tries to merge himself back in traffic, and he's going to fall well outside the top 20. Oh, wow. Tires were shot after that slide before the caution. Newman never got into him, and meanwhile off turn 4, checkered flag is going to be waving. Sideways again is Dale Jr. Checkered flag for Greg Biffle as he is going to win the Daytona 500. And Jr. falls to 27th on the last lap after running in 9th rather. Oh man, that's frustrating. That car was just too loose at the end. If I didn't get super loose leading up to that last caution, that probably wouldn't have happened. Oh man, it was a great race. So up until about 8 to go, my race went straight downhill. I hadn't even ran that far back in the pack all day, let alone finishing 27th. Like, how? We ran top 10 all day. We led laps periodically. Still can't win one of these races at Daytona. I don't know what it is, man. 0 for 11. And we're going to have to wait until the middle of the season to try again. What a wild speed weeks. 10 yellows in this race. Let's go through the race results. 9 cautions, sorry. That last yellow was number 9. 9 cautions for 27 caution laps. 26 lead changes, 3 hours and 31 minutes to get tonight's Daytona 500 in. Margin of victory, 0.2 of a second for Greg Biffle over teammate Matt Kenseth. 1-2 finish for Roush Fenway. Biffle started 42nd. He actually did start 43rd because he was in dual race number 1. So Greg Biffle from last to first, leading only 17 laps late in the race, but he wins the Daytona 500. And again, sure enough, as I'm not racing as him on this season, he wins it. 1-2-3 finish, no, actually, I think that's Kyle. Yeah, my bad. That's Kyle Busch, not Kurt Busch. Kyle Busch finishes in 3rd, leading 9 laps because he started 39th. Also deep in the field after an engine failure in the dual race like Biffle. Tony Stewart finished in 4th, and Jimmy Johnson rounds out the top 10. Johnson led 60 laps today, which was the most laps. Dale Jr. was close. I guess he didn't quite get that many. So Jimmy Johnson leads the most laps today with 60 laps led. Bobby Labonte finishes 6th. Carl Edwards, rookie, finishes 7th. So rookie finishes 3rd and 7th in the Daytona 500. Kevin Harvick in 8th. Ryan Newman 9th. And Brian Vickers rounds out the top 10. See how many laps Dale Jr. led, 27. The DEI did not have a good finish. They were 1-2-3 in the first 40 laps of the race. End up finishing 19th with Martin Truex Jr., the best of the 3. Dale Jr. finishes 27th with 54 laps led, so just 6 laps shy of the most laps led in the race today. And Michael Waltrip led 3 laps and finished 37th. He had an engine failure. It was actually the last DNF of the race. So Michael Waltrip, Jeff Green, Kurt Busch, Elliott Sadler, Scott Riggs, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, all DNF. Jarrett blew an engine on lap 1, I guess. Crazy race. I mean, this was a great race. This was one of the better Daytona 500s on the channel, despite the fact I finished 27th. That's saying something. That was a lot of fun. It was challenging, but fun. I survived. I did not wreck until the end. Until the green-white checker. I finally wrecked, and I obviously wore out my tires going to that final restart because of it. Ay, ay, ay. I gave it my all, guys. I gave it my all. I think the next race is going to be at California, and it's likely going to be tomorrow night on the channel. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We had over 50 people watching the Daytona 500 at one point. Crazy, and it was a crazy good race at that. But next race is going to be at California tomorrow night on the channel. 250 lap in the daytime, but it's actually going to be one of 4 50% races on the season. Way to hang tough. I tried. I tried. I gotta keep my chin up. That was a great performance. And the way last night's Busch race went and the truck race on Friday night, I survived 500 miles at Daytona on one of the toughest, maybe, games to drive a race car at Daytona. And I mean, what could I say? I did everything I could. I don't regret taking 2 tires on that last stop. I honestly don't. I think if I would have held on and not spun out with about, 5 or 6 laps to go leading into the green-white checker finish, if I wouldn't have caused a caution there and spun out and kind of wrecked, I think we were going to get a top 10. Because I wouldn't have been as loose on those last 2 laps following the restart if that didn't happen, obviously. Like, the tires were worn out, but not that worn out. I'm going to see if I can change it down to 50%. I should be able to. Yep. So, 4 50% races this season, and one of them will be at California. So, instead of a 500-mile California race, it is going to be a 250-mile California race tomorrow night, and that's why we'll be doing the Cup Series on a Friday night, even though it's a work night for me. So, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard start time, California Speedway. We'll be racing out west, and I think it's going to be a great race. California put on a lot of great races on NASCAR 5. Definitely going to get my practice in before tomorrow's race. Practice is going to be key with this game. It is tough to drive, but I'm going to pump the brakes, and I think I'll do better on the intermediates. I need to, because we need to get Dale Jr. a championship. He has never won one. He at least won 2 Daytona 500s. You're trying to get him back-to-back. And could not do it. And I think, not Dale Jr.'s streak, but my streak at Daytona continues 0 for 11. That one day we're going to win at Daytona in the Cup Series, it is going to be beautiful. And I'm going to be like, oh, thank goodness. I don't drink, so there won't be any champagne, but there will be a celebration. Let me tell you guys that. One of these days it's going to happen. But we'll have to wait, and it might be another month or 2 before we try again. Thank you, everybody. See you guys tomorrow night, California. Nextel Cup Series. Do it for Dale Series. Cup Series edition.